basics, you're going to have a couple files to work with here. You're going to need the start PSD, the beach PSD, and the flower PSD. And then this is the book that I'll be following along. You can follow along on this book too. I find it helpful. So I already have the book open here. And the parts that say stuff about, first of all, it says it's going to take us an hour or something, or less than an hour. So yeah, we'll be less than an hour. This is about what it's going to look like. And then getting started, you're not going to use Bridge. We're just going to go ahead and open up the start PSD file. So that was here, and we're going to download all three. So let's grab all three now. And I'm going to make sure I open up the start PSD. All right, my Photoshop open, and I have this beautiful little pineapple. So I have this pineapple, and I have all these layers over here. So now let's see what we have. Layers, adjustments, properties. Let's see what we have to do first. So if the layers panel is not visible, click window layers. So window layers, mine's checked off, so it is visible. If yours happen to not be, that's the only reason I said that. Select the background layer to make it active. That means you just click this. Now we know it's grayed out, so now we know it's active. Click the lock icon to make sure it's protected from changes. It is. This is the lock, so it's protected from, basically you can't change it. And then the icon indicates if it's visible versus the transparency. So this is visible versus not. So visible, not visible. So the first thing we're going to do is file open. So now I have two. You can see both windows. I have the start and I have the beach one open. It's not a background layer, so use a layer such as transparency. Okay, so this is just this one little single layer by itself. That's all they're saying. So now they want us to rename and copy a layer. So first, you're going to give layer one a more descriptive name. So in the layers panel, you're going to double click the layer one. See, it's just called something boring, and they want you to, I double clicked it. They want you to call it beach. So I called my beach, and then I pushed enter. Now it's called beach. And then choose window arrange two up vertical. This is how you can basically view two at the same time. So you're going to go up to window arrange, and it says two up vertical. See, now I have these side by side. If I drag this over and hide the book a little bit, you can see how there's two windows here. It just makes it easier for you to see. So now what they want us to do, if I'm looking over here, they want us to drag this into this document. Whoops. So all we're going to do that is it says select the move tool and drag the beach into the working. So this is the move tool. Drag the beach into here. You see that icon looks a little, I'm pointing at the screen, but it looks different. It dragged it in there. So what's cool is it dragged this beach below the pineapple. If yours happen to drag above the pineapple, you'll see it above here. But if yours dragged below the pineapple, it's behind there. And that's kind of what you want. So let me drag this back over here. It says the beach layer now appears in this one. And between the background and Photoshop layers, always adds a new one directly below. Okay, cool. So it's here. Theirs is a little here. And then it says close the beach file without saving. So this is what they mean by close the beach file without saving. So do you want to save? No. All right. So I have this pineapple. I have the beach one over here hidden. So let's figure out how to do something with that. So then next to the, it says next to the eye icon next to the pineapple, they want to hide the pineapple. So we have this little eye. This is how you hide and enable things. We're just going to hide it so we can take a look at this. Click the show again how to display the pineapple. Okay, that's fine. We don't need it right now. So select the beach layer. It's selected. Oh, I know it's selected because it's grayed out. And to make changes, okay, we're going to make them obvious. It says hide all the layers except for the beach layer. Okay, so we don't want any of these viewable at all. We want to hide all of them. So there's a trick to do that. And you can press Alt on your keyboard. So you find Alt, and then you're going to click the eye icon next to the beach. So I'm clicking Alt, and it basically hit everything. So just to show you, let's pretend some of these were visible. If I click Alt and I hold the beach, everything is hidden except for the beach. And that's what we want in this case. So it says the white background disappears. It did. But it's there. It's just hidden. and choose layer style stroke. So beach is selected. I'm going to choose layer. I'm going to go to style. Where's the style stroke? So layer style, and then they want stroke. So I'm over stroke right now. So this is going to basically create like a cool little outline, but it says you'll see the options for the white stroke around the beach image. So a white stroke. Okay, so right now the color of the stroke is black. We want the color to be white. So let's go ahead and click the white color for the stroke. Okay. They said they wanted 5 pixels. I'm going to change that stroke, that outline, to 5 pixels. They want the position inside, the blend no normal, and the opacity at 100. Color white. Oh, I did that first, so that's fine. They said click color and select white. I kind of already did that first. All right, so I hit OK. So now if I want to move this over here, you can see how if I zoom in here, it created this white icon, or I'm sorry, white outline. That's what it created. So that's basically what that stroke effect means over the beach. So it says, okay, we did that. We're good. All right, rearranging. Now we're going to take these layers and we're going to rearrange them. So the order in which the layers are in an image are called the stacking order. I told you guys in class, it's like if you stack stuff on top, you know, what's hiding. So we're going to make the postage Hawaii. Okay, we want it in this order. A postage, then Hawaii, flower, pineapple, and background. And then click the show hide, okay, to name them. All right, we can already see them. So the beach is almost entirely blocked by the images on the other layers. That's true, because if we were looking at these, we can tell that this is blocking basically everything. We don't want it to block everything. So in the layers panel, drag the beach layer up so it's positioned between the pineapple and the flower layers. As you drag, a blue line indicates where it will be dropped. Okay, so they want this between the flower and the pineapple. So I'm moving this. This is the blue line they're talking about. I'm going to drop it right there. Okay, and then it moves up in the stacking order. Okay, cool. And then it's under the postmark, but under the word Hawaii. Yep, under the postmark and under the Hawaii. All right, so now they want us to change the opacity of the layer. So select the postage layer. That would be this one. It's highlighted. That's how I know. And they want us to change it. Click the arrow next to the opacity field to display the opacity slider. So where is that opacity slider? That's going to be right over here. It says click this little arrow, and they want it to be 25%. So I'm going to drag this down to 25%. It says you can also scrub okay, what they're talking about is you can like move it here, but I think that's usually the easiest way to do it. All right, now they want us to save. So it says the content with the pineapple, the beach, the flower, and Hawaii remain see-through. So the pineapple, okay. So let's go ahead and file, and let's save as to save our work. We're going to save this as a postcard, and we're going to save it in your OneDrive, like a smart location, so that we can continue working on it. All right, so I saved midway, so I don't lose my work, and it's not in the downloads folder. So now we're going to duplicate a layer and change blending mode. So click on the eye icons next to the Hawaii flower to hide them, okay? Hawaii, the flower, and the beach. Okay, then we don't want to see them. We want to look at it as the pineapple. Right-click or control-click the pineapple layer and choose duplicate layer. Okay, so I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to choose duplicate layer. Then in the menu, it says click OK in the dialog box. Make sure you, okay, that's just the copy. It made it, that's fine. We could do OK. So now it made itself a copy. A layer called, there it is. With the pineapple copy selected, choose overlay from the blending modes in the layers panel. So this is selected, and I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to choose overlay. It kind of gives it a different, if I turn this off, you see, it gives it like a richer look. Like it looks, the contrast on it's high. Oh, since they said that, vibrant, more colorful, and deeper shadows. Select the postage layer and choose multiply from the blending modes. So we're going to choose the postage layer, and then this blending mode, we're going to choose multiply. Let me see what that did. I mean, that looks cool. It goes on normal versus multiply. All right, it gives it a slight different look. Each blending mode is a different map to combine the layers with the layers behind it. So now they want us to make sure we save again. Save your work. All right, so now we're going to resize and then rotate layers now. So click the visibility on the beach layer. All right, so I click the visibility on the beach. And then now they want us to edit free transform. So let me grab beach, and then we do edit free transform. All right, now I can now be able to transform this. And then it wants us to drag the lower right inward by 50%, by about 50%, okay? And then with the control, adjust the pointer just outside the rectangle so the pointer is a curved double angle. I mean, I guess I could have done the 50% like they said. I'm going to Control Z and I'm going to do 50% like they said. So I'm actually following the direction. Oh, that's small. Okay. And then rotation by 15 degrees. All right, that looks like a degree symbol. I'm going to put 15. Whoops, that's 150. There's one. All right, there's 15. Because you can set the rotation in the box. Okay, they moved it. I put it in manually. All right, click the commit. The commit is a little, this button here. So I committed to my change. All right, and then make the flower layer visible and select the move tool. Is that where they wanted this? Maybe they'll move it. Maybe we'll move it later. All right, select the flower, make it visible. All right, now I can see the flower. And then the move tool, drag the beach photo so that its corner is tucked neatly beneath the flower in the illustration. Okay, so we want to move this so it's like, I'm trying to make mine look like theirs, about right there. Okay, we're going to file save again. All right, using a filter to create artwork. Okay, let's see what we're going to do there. So in the layers panel, select the background layer to make it active. That would be this one. And then we're going to create a new layer. Okay, so the new layer is a little plus. That'd be this plus right here. Hold on, I'm going to move my face. So if we have this selected here, that's the plus. Creates a layer 1. That's what they mean by a new layer 1. It also has no effect on the image. Double click the layer 1 and type clouds. Double click clouds. Okay. And then in the tools, click the foreground color swatch and select sky blue. Sky blue. Okay, so here, this is the foreground. We want a sky blue. Sky blue is red is 48. So let's put these in manually. 48. The green is 138. And the blue is 174. That's that sky blue. We're going to hit OK. And it wants the background color to still be white. So I have the sky blue as the foreground. And I have the background as a white. Because basically it's going to combine those two colors. So it says realist. Okay, so we're going to filter, render clouds. Filter, render, clouds. So basically what we did now is we created the clouds using that sky blue we put and that white. And that's how it created it in our new layer. So now it looks like realistic clouds in the back. And we're going to go ahead and save. All right, dragging to add a new layer. All right, if Photoshop fills your monitor, reduce the size. Okay, mine doesn't. And then upper to make it smaller. Okay, so in Photoshop, select the pineapple copy layer. That's that one. To make it the active layer. Okay. And then now what are we going to do? This flower too into here. So what it did is we dragged a second file and it put it right in here. Now that you're done importing, you can make the photocopy windows larger again to give you more. That's why they said to make it smaller. They wanted you to make this window smaller so that you could open up your downloads folder wherever you had that flower and then drag it in. That was the point of that. All right, so let's continue. Position the flower 2 layer in the lower left corner, so it's about the bottom half, okay? Let me move my face. It's set around the bottom half. Ooh, they only have like one visible. There we go. And then hit the commit button. So if I make this bigger, that's the commit button because I moved this right around here. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, now we're going to add some pretty looking text. All right, what's the next thing we're going to do? Make Hawaii layer visible. Okay, horizontal type tool. Here's our type tool. And then we're going to choose window character to open up the character panel. So window, we're going to go to character. And now we have all these options for the characters. And now what are we supposed to do? Okay, adding the text. Make the Hawaii visible layer. Okay, now it's visible. I can see Hawaii. You'll add the text just below this layer and apply special effects. So it says choose select, deselect to make sure there are no layers selected. Select, deselect, so that there are no layers selected. Okay, I deselected all layers. And now in the tools panel, select the horizontal and choose window character. Okay, I have this window character. That's this. Okay, so it actually, my layers are here too. So keep in mind this created its own little like drop down. So then they want us to choose Bodoni. All right, so I choose the Bodoni MT Condense. Now they want us to choose font style regular. Okay, regular. And then a large font like 36, so 36 points. And then a large tracking value, they use 250. So this is the tracking value of 250. It's like the spacing of the letters. Color swatch and select a shade of grassy green. Okay, color swatch and then a shade of glassy green. It doesn't have a number, so I'm just going to choose something greenish. It says we use 250. Oh, that was that. Okay. If the font does not have a bold variant, click the fold button. Okay. So that would be this one probably. And then all caps, that's the double TT, that looks large. And then select Chris from the anti-analyzing. So that would be, and I think that's this. Okay, so the little AA on there, they want it to be crisp. All right, in the options bar or the paragraph, click on the center text icon. Okay, we're going to center the text. They're getting really picky here, but okay. This is going to be centered. All right. And then click just below the W in Hawaii and type Island Paradise. Okay, so just below the W with that and click Island Paradise. So I click just below and I'm going to type in Island Paradise. Replacing the selected, okay. Then click commit. As you type, see, I don't like that. I wonder if I can, there's no birch. You know what? That works. This is the So if we go back here, I chose the TW Scent MT Condensed. TW Scent MT Condensed. And that honestly looks better. That was the one I chose. All right, it wants us to commit. My commit button is a little hidden. All right. And then, as you type the text expense from the center, true, okay, and this layer is on the top, no layers are selected. All right, the text is slightly off center, it is. So use the move tool and reposition it as needed. So I'm gonna move it about there so it looks right. All right, now we're gonna apply a gradient. So you get to apply a gradient to the Hawaii to make it more colorful. So select the Hawaii layer. Okay, so let's go back to the layers here. And it says select the Hawaii layer. Okay. And then right or control click and choose select pixels. So if I right click this and I say select pixels, it's going to select the pixels on the image. All non-transparent pixels, so all this behind this transparent, this is white, are selected. So in the tools panel, select the gradient tool. Yours might be behind the paint bucket. And then in the options bar, make sure the linear gradient is selected. So up here, this is gradient. If we want to make sure, I'm going to hover over, it's linear, and it is. Click the foreground color swatch in the tools panel and select a bright shade of orange in the color picker. And it's selected. Click the foreground color swatch in the tools panel to select a bright shade of orange. Okay, so I'm going to click this, and they want me to choose some type of a bright shade of orange like that. So I chose, okay, and then that changed that up here. Okay, we could the background is still white. Click on the gradient panel tab to bring it forward. If it isn't visible, choose window gradients to open it. Okay, they're talking about okay, that'd be this. And if you don't have this over here, you could go to window and you could make sure gradients is checked. So now I have this here. Okay, expand the basics and click the foreground to the first one. Okay, that's this. All right, you can also drag the preset and drop it on the layer. Okay, so they want me to take this and they want me to drop it on Hawaii. Cool. So what I did, let me extend this. I'm going to go back. I opened up the gradient. I grabbed this particular one, and then all I did was drag this onto the Hawaii, and it dragged this gradient. With the options bar, it dragged those settings onto that layer, is what I did. I'll put this back now. It says, yep, that happened. A distance bar matches the height of the Hawaii because of the gradient length. Okay, so they want us to adjust those settings. So that's what they're talking about with this bar. So this orange is going all the way to the top. We want the orange to be lower. And then what they're talking about over here is that this white was all the way down here. We want to move it up. That's how we can create a gradient like this. Oh, I actually did it the other way around. They want the white on the top and the orange on the bottom, which is fine. All right, we're gonna go ahead and save. So I mean that looks cute. I think it looks cute. It's coming along. It's coming along. Alrighty. Now they want us to put some looking green stuff. All right, in the layers panel, select the Island Paradise layer. Island Paradise layer. Let's find that Island Paradise. That's this. And like layers can be hidden. Yep. And we're going to make sure the preview option is selected because we're going to open up layer style drop shadow. Okay, so layer style, we want to drop shadow. Okay, now I have all these options in there. In the layer style dialog, make sure, okay, the preview selected. The preview would be, where's my preview? this thing right here is your preview. Now you'll get to add. So it says it wants global light, because obviously drop shadow is already there. It wants global light, and then it wants in a certain thing. So let's do here, I guess. So it's like to the side. And now they want the mode to be multiply. They want the opacity at 75%, the angle at 78 degrees, the distance 5 pixels, the spread, so how far does it spread from the edge, 30, and the size of it, how big is that shadow? It's 10 pixels big. Okay. Angle, okay. All they're saying is if you move this, you can change the angle at which you can see the little shadow changing. It changes that. They wanted that 78 though. I'll put it back. All right, because it's preview, you can preview the changes like we previewed the changes and click OK to accept. So we're going to accept those changes. And make sure the eye appears. Okay, we're going to go to that and then press Alt and drag the effects listing or the FX symbol of the island into the Hawaii. Okay. So if we want to apply whatever we did here to here, like copy these effects in the layers panel and drag the effects. Okay, so you have to have this selected, then you choose, that's the layers effect, and you have to make sure you hit Alt on your keyboard and drag it into the Hawaii. And then that's the only way this will copy. If yours didn't, then you didn't have this selected and then you didn't click this right. It's a little weird, but just note, I'm going back, you have to have this one. We're copying these effects. You hold Alt and then you move it into where you want it to go, and it basically makes it a copy. So now that we did that, it wants us to add additional things to that Hawaii layer. So we're going to click the Hawaii layer, and we can double click its effects. And now they want us to add a stroke. We're going to add the stroke, and then we want the options for the stroke. They want it to only be 4 pixels. They want it to be on the outside. They want it to be normal with an opacity of 100, and they want it to be green. So click the green color swatch. All right, I'm going to choose green. And then hit OK. So now it created this green outline on it. Okay. So then now that we're done with that, we want to add a drop shadow and a satin sheen to this little flower. So select the flower. I chose which flower? Actually, which flower did it want me to do that on? Oh no, they want this one. So not this purple one, this one. And then they want layer style drop shadow. Okay, so layer style. Where's the layer style? And then drop shadow, and that would be our options. And then they want that drop shadow to be 60% is the opacity. The distance should be 13, and the spread should be 9. Make sure to use global light and that blend mode is applied. Oh, and that the blend mode is multiply. Okay. Oh, do not hit OK. With it still open, click on the word satin, and then make sure invert is selected and apply the following. Okay, so invert. Where is invert? So here's satin, and they want invert selected. That's the invert here. It is selected. And they want the color swatch, choose a color that enhances the flower. Okay. I guess I can choose whatever color. Like, I'm going to choose the same purplish thing they chose. I guess it did. Opacity 20% and distance 22% or 22 pixels. Okay, it's applied, and then it controls the shape. Invert flips the curve. So, I mean, I guess I see the difference. They want it selected. Click OK to apply both layer styles, the satin and the drop shadow that we did. And it says that your flower looks a little different. And you can use the eye to see what it looks like without the layer style. So all they're talking about is you go like that, and you can basically see what it looks like without them and with them. So I like that drop shadow to it. That's kind of cool. I would add in that. Adding an adjustment layer. Okay, so we're still not done. We got to add this adjustment layer. Select the flower 2. All right, so we're going to select flower 2. And then in the adjustments panel, scroll to the single adjustments list and click the hue saturation. Okay, so there's your adjustments. If yours is not here somewhere, you can go to Window and Adjustments. So we went to our single adjustments. See, it could be at presets. We're going to hit single adjustments. It wants us to click on the hue saturation and add a hue saturation. So we're going to click on the hue saturation. And then it wants this hue to be 43. A saturation of 19, and a lightness of 0. Okay, I don't really like that though, but I mean, I guess I'll run with it. This changes it to all of them. If you want the effect is interesting, but you want to change only the flower, I agree. In the properties panel, create a clipping mask. Okay, so it's going to clip around everything and only apply to the area that you basically want to. So now how to do that? In the properties panel, to create the clipping mask, it's in the first button along the bottom of the panel when you see the properties panel displayed. Okay, so that's this little thing. So that would be that. That's a little confusing to find. So what they're trying to say is right now, this hue saturation applied to all of these below it. And although this is a cool effect, we might not want it on all of them. We only want it on the flower. So if we only want it on the flower, this little button here is a clipping mask. And what it does is it only applies to this one. So if I go back, so you can see, that applied it to everything below it. And this clipping mask applies it to only that one, which is why it has a little arrow. Yeah, basically only exactly what I said. Updating layer effects. All right, so select the Island Paradise layers in the panel. Okay, Island Paradise, got it. And in the Tools panel, select the horizontal. I got it. And in the options bar, change the size by a few points. Why do I want to do that? It says you change the settings for the entire type layer. Okay. And didn't select the text by hiding. You would have to do so in a word process. Because it's worked in Photoshop, you can change the settings for entire layer type. Okay. Select the Move tool and drag the island layer as needed. Okay, I still think that mine is in a relatively decent place. I'm nudging. All right, we're going to file save. Apply. Cool, cool. All right, select the Move tool in the options and make sure Auto Select is disabled. All right, so the Move tool, Auto Select is disabled. It would be, it's not. In the postage layer, use the move and drag it to the middle right of the image. The middle right. So let me go ahead and grab the postage layer. And let me move it to, they said, the middle and the right. Oh, like an actual postage stamp. Okay. In the Island Paradise layer, click Create a New Layer at the bottom. Okay, I'm in the Island Paradise layer. New layer, the plus, created at the top. Choose Select All. All. Select Modify Border in the border. So select modify border. We want that border to be 10 pixels. And we're going to hit, it's going to create a 10 pixel border. And we're going to fill that border with white. So now it's going to create a little border. In the Tools panel, select the foreground color to white and then choose Edit Fill. Foreground color to white. And then we're going to Edit Fill. Edit Fill. Okay. Choose the foreground color for the contents. Foreground color, which was the white we chose. We're going to fill it with the white and hit OK. All right, and then select, deselect, and then double click the layer 1 name in the layers panel and rename the layer to border. All right, flattening and saving files. I'm going to say for my class, I'm going to have you guys do something slightly different for this. I want you to go ahead and I want you to grab this Island Paradise layer and I want you to basically copy and paste it. So you're going to take this. I put edit, copy, edit, paste. It created a duplicate. And then I want you to put this down here. I have to move this out the way. Put this down here. And I want you to put you and your partner's name. And you can adjust that size so it looks more appropriate. And that's how I'll know that you did it. And then from here, we will finally go back now to flattening that image. So we're going to choose Image. We're going to choose Duplicate. In the duplicate, name the file flat something. Okay. 04 flat.psd and put OK. And then layer flatten image. So layer flatten image. Where's that flatten image? Down here. It's going to consolidate this all into one. And then it says save and then save as. Okay, so you're just going to basically export this. You don't have to do that. If it's flat, I'll take the flat. You can go ahead and export. Export as. JPEG's fine. You obviously have this all done, and it would be you and your partner's name. So this one was a little bit of a weird, hard one, but I hope worked out for you.